PRX.
Friends beyond the binary, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time for a podcaster who's coming to you across beyond time and space, and across it, because, whatever time it is, it's important for me to be here for you, to keep you company and take your mind off of stuff, and to fill in some of that space with some rambling. I'm not kidding either. It's like when there's times for quiet, and there's times my mind is quiet, and there's times I'd like quiet. The Venn diagram of those overlapping. Here's one thing you could have in bed. Venn diagram. I mean, probably not at bedtime, but probably a bed isn't a bad place for a Venn diagram. If you're making physical Venn diagrams, if you don't have access to a drafting table, pull everything off your bed and just use, you could just use your sheet and start moving those circles around. But what was my point? Venn diagrams. And then if you have to take a nap, you could just, line on Venn diagrams. It might be a little crinkly. Unless you're using some sort of poly material, then it could be, sweat-inducing. But anyway, for the love of Venn, for the love of diagrams, could you get to the point? Well, that's not really what I do. I understand your frustration, though, totally, really, and a lot of people shared it. This is a podcast that's here to keep you company, take your mind off so you can fall asleep, because you deserve a good night's sleep. And what's going to happen is we're going to have some support. This show's free twice a week, but you could pay and you don't have to worry about listening to the support. Then there'll be a long, meandering intro to ease you into bedtime. And then there'll be, tonight will be a discussion of Star Trek The Next Generation. All to keep you company and take your mind off stuff so that you could fall asleep. So, that's what we got going here. What do you say? This is like the easy. Yeah. So, these are the ways I'm able to do it for you for free choice. So, welcome to Sleep With Me, the podcast that's here to keep you company and put you to sleep with podcasts that get mixed up. And these sponsors are how we're able to do it for free twice a week. Hey, everybody, this is Scoots here. I put our annual subscriptions on sale, 16% off, still on sale to the end of April, but it backfired. So I'd love to hear feedback. Actually, we still need monthly patrons. So it's not, it was just a sale to say, hey, if you want to sign up as an annual patron, I don't know if that's what backfired. I know it's a tough time right now, believe me. So I totally understand if you could no longer be a patron, and I want to keep the podcast coming out twice a week free for everybody. So if you're in a position to be a patron or an annual patron, monthly or annual, it's a huge, huge support. But somehow putting stuff on sale, I don't know. So if you're here in this spot, whether you become a monthly patron or an annual patron, let me know, because it's huge. And I didn't think by doing a sale, we'd lose patrons. People did sign up, but mostly they were existing patrons. But if you sign up now as an annual patron, you get 16% off between now and the end of April. But if you sign up for as a monthly patron, it's a huge help too. It doesn't make a difference. You get the same ton of bonus content. There's 1,700 episodes, ad-free episodes, story-only episodes, bonus content in the $5 patron feed, and then over 2,000 something in the $10 and $20 patron feed. You can listen in most podcast apps, Pocket Cast, Overcast, Podcast Addict, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, tons of other ones, and you get to support the show that's putting you to sleep right now. You don't have to listen to me asking for support either, or any sponsor, or anything like that. But best of all, you're part of the family. Sign up for our Discord. That's where our Patreon community is. And let me know, most of all, so I can say thank you for supporting the work me and all the other people who work on the show put into the show, and for keeping this podcast out there. I couldn't do it without you, really. And if you want to sign up now, believe me, think about becoming an annual patron just to save the 16%. But either way, sleepwithmepodcast.com/patron, sleepwithmepodcast.com/patron, and let me know about it if you want to. Sleepwithmepodcast.com/patron. Thanks, everybody. All right, everybody, it's time for the Sleepy Supporter Zone. The one part of the podcast I need you to hear. It's where I pop my peas. If you please, I thank the listeners who supported the sponsors. And that's one of the ways we're able to be here for you free twice a week. And right now, I kind of need you to devote or to kind of take action the Supporter Zone is one of the parts of the show where I celebrate people who enable us to keep the show coming out twice a week for free. You can vote with your action. Support the show directly on Patreon or Apple Podcasts. Support a sponsor and then let them know about it. Let me know about it so I can thank you here in the Sleepy Supporter Zone. And that includes a free trial. You can check all our sponsors out at sleepwithmepodcast.com/sponsors. You could spread the word about the show. And if none of that appeals to you, but you do like Sleep With Me coming out for free twice a week, fill out our survey about sponsors and stuff at sleepwithmepodcast.com/survey. And you can vote. You'll also be voting like by inaction, because that's kind of like where I'm trying to figure stuff out for the rest of the year and even next year. Please vote one of those ways, like do something to support the show or just fill out that survey, or even easier, let somebody know about the podcast. Let me know about it so I can say thank you, because I love making this podcast. I love putting you to sleep. That's why I get so jazzed up about this. So yeah, fill out that form, sleepwithmepodcast.com/survey, sleepwithmepodcast.com/sponsors. I love thanking you. So yeah, please do that. That's the first part of the Sleepy Supporter Zone. The second part of the Sleepy Supporter Zone is you getting the support you need right now. There's links to resources you can check out right in our show notes, including international resources. It's about taking action, being a part of positive change, not just saying Black Lives Matter, not just saying stop API hate, not just saying support Ukraine. It's about learning more and taking action, including joining our community building hygiene kits. You could sign up for that, sleepwithmepodcast.com/midnight mission. And also, this is like a section where I support other parts of the community. This is a large community. I'm not going to say the name of the streaming service because it's not a sponsor plug, but our very own Antonio Banderas has a movie on this streaming service, and you'll be able to easily find it. And I've been watching Poker Face, which is absolutely delightful. Oh, by the way, the Antonio Banderas movie is called Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. And there's also a show about to come out when I'm recording this called Mrs. Davis. It's about cool nuns doing cool, and I mean, I haven't seen it, but it's like action, like nuns in action. And I mean, it's got so many layers. It sounds like it. So 3 amazing things you could check out on one service. All are people that inspire the podcast that we love, made by people, performed by people. So yeah, just as a little plug here. And how do I say the name of the service without giving it this would be a promotion, I guess. It rhymes with Weehawk. No, does it rhyme with Weehawk? You'd say, no, Scoots, it does not rhyme. Bacaw. It rhymes with like what that bird says on that commercial that one time. Bacaw. So anyway, it's time for, you say, what is this show? Mystery Bard. A lot of people up on the show. Who are they?
This posty poster son sounds like an earful. Wrote the theme song. Carl W. the legend. Ashley, Kenny, Scotty, Jennifer. Eric and the team at Astound are on the website. I am the mystery bard. I do the lullabies, yeah. I do commissions at jonathanmann.net. I'll write a song for you. Any reason at all. You can tell me the story and I'll make it personal. You see the kindness shine straight on through when the listeners form their own Facebook group. Keith, Stacy, Sarah, Julie, and Jennifer. These are your moderators. Get support dear Scooter on Patreon. Buy the merch and support the sponsors. You can find anything you want at sleepwithmepodcast.com. And we're so proud that we could dance. Rusty Biscuit, Lois, Anna like banana. Leah does the transcripts.
Thanks, Mystery Bard. What do you say we slow it down and get on with the show? I'm at Dear Scooter on Twitter and Instagram. That's where you could find me. And then I'm supposed to say, what do you say? We slow it down and get on with the show. Hey, are you up all night tossing, turning, mind racing, trouble getting to sleep, trouble staying asleep? Well, welcome. This is Sleep With Me, the podcast that puts you to sleep. We do it the Bedtime Story. All you need to do is get in bed, turn out the lights, and press play. I'm going to do the rest. What I'm going to attempt to do is create a safe place where you can set aside whatever's keeping you awake. It could be thoughts on your mind, thoughts you're thinking about the past, the present, the future. So thinking stuff. It could be feelings, anything coming up for you emotionally. That's there. It could be physical sensations. It could be changes in time or temperature or routine or something else. And the reason I go through that stuff is I just want you to know you're not alone. And I realize this is a strange digital pseudo whatever. It's different than a normal thing, but I'm really here to keep you company. But the more important thing is that whatever it is that's keeping you awake, I might not have been through the same thing, but I can probably relate to how it feels. But like I said, more important than that, there's hundreds of thousands of other people listening right now that can relate to that and that are nodding their heads. And we're all in kind of agreement that, hey, you deserve a good night's sleep. Hey, you deserve a place you could get some rest, the rest you need. So your life is more manageable, so that you could be out there flourishing. A bedtime you could look forward to or feel neutral about, that you don't have to dread. Those are things you deserve and that are important, whether this show provides it or not. So that's why the show exists, and that's why people listen to it, really. I mean, it works, and it keeps them company and takes their mind off of stuff. But we're also, a lot of us in the deep dark night, feeling alone. And this is kind of why I just ramble on and on and on. It's like, so whether you're listening or not, knowing that it's optional to listen to me and you could check in and I'll still be here, and that I know how it feels and that other people know how it feels, that's kind of the only important thing about this podcast. And the way I do it is I send my voice across the deep, dark night. I'm going to use lulling, soothing, creaky, dulcet tones, pointless meanders, superfluous tangents. So I'm going to go off topic. I'm going to get mixed up. Then I'll forget what I was talking about. Then I'll double back and I'll say, wait a second, what was I talking about here? I have no idea. And then I'll pause. And so that's like kind of pointless meanders, creaky, dulcet tones, and superfluous tangents. I get mixed up. My voice is not traditionally soothing, but it's here to keep you company and take your mind off stuff because you deserve a good night's sleep. So that's how it kind of works. But you say, wait a second, that doesn't, and I said, don't worry, I'm going to explain it a little bit more. So the couple of things to know, other than you deserve a good night's sleep, and that's what we're here for, is one, this podcast is not for everybody. But it's almost not, it doesn't work for anyone. Not every, I mean, I get those emails that people say, hey, it worked for me on the first try. And I'm so happy about that. But for most people, on the first try you get here, and maybe you heard about this show on a list or somebody told you about it, or you're just looking for something and you searched and it came up, and you've been trying stuff, right, to fall asleep because it's rough. And maybe you're like a lot of people that spent thousands and thousands of dollars on stuff to help you sleep. And you say, man, I just want something that helps. So you get to this show and then you're like, what is this dude even talking about? Was he talking about, does he know the difference between time? Does he know what a Venn diagram, does he know a Venn diagram has two ends? Or does he only suspect it? And I'd say, there you go. There's another mystery. Venn diagram and suspicious Venn diagram. I mean, that could be within it. Suspicious of Venn diagrams. There's one circle right there. It's like a far side. I don't know what the rest of it would be because this podcast is full of half jokes. I'm on the far side. I don't know if there was ever, I think there was like Far Side fan fests in the past, but you'd say, I'm on the far side of Far Side, man. Look it up. Trust me. If you say, what's a far side? I say, well, you'll enjoy it, I think. Oh, but this podcast isn't for everybody. So I can't guarantee you'll enjoy this podcast, but I can only tell you what like a million people have literally told me. It took 2 or 3 tries to get used to your show, or I loathed you. And then years later, I re-listened to your podcast, and then I realized, oh, it's supposed to be like that. I had no idea that you really were on the far side of the far side. I didn't even know what that means, but now I do, even though I don't even know I'm only 19. I don't get that context, but I get it. I get it even though I don't. So what was my point there? So yeah, this podcast, just give it a few tries and see how it goes. You got nothing to lose. If you already can't stand me, sleepwithmepodcast.com/no thank you has a list of other sleep podcasts on there. So give those a try. But what I'm going to do is, what else do I need to explain? That's what I'm going to do is, a couple other things. So this is a podcast you don't really listen to. You just kind of barely listen. It's almost like background noise that you could just be saying, well, I could just barely pay attention to this. So you just kind of barely listen. You could listen to me at a mumble. You could listen to me across the room. You could imagine that I'm a TV on in another room. Or you can listen. If you need a break during the day or you can't sleep, this podcast is slightly listenable. It's like, it's not easy listening. Because, sometimes easy, I think they don't call it that anymore. There used to be channels called easy listening, right? And you say, when I'm not in the mood for easy listening, there's nothing easy about it. I say, I prefer no songs about sunshine or country roads or Friends or, anything I'm not I need some I need some hardcore. I'm not having an easy listening day today. So I do not need anyone having a duet with a Muppet or a song that will in the future become a duet with a Muppet. And that's not a blanket statement on easy listening. And I'm not saying today's the day, but if you get me, it'd be over 300 where you say, is today the day for easy listening? And it's, I don't know, I don't even know. I don't know if that exists anymore, but we could try some yacht rock and we could go from there. I'll meet you at yacht rock. How about that? And then I'll know. And I say, nope, I can't. Sorry, Christopher. Here's an easy joke. Christopher crossed out today. You can't do it. So Christopher, you could call me Christopher Cross with a furrowed brow. Oh, boy. Yeah, this is a sleep podcast you're saying to yourself that you barely listen to. Also does not put you to sleep. There's no pressure to fall asleep with the show. I'll be here for over an hour. And my job is to keep you company and take your mind off of stuff, not to put you to sleep. I'm here to be your friend in the deep, dark night. Your bore friend, your bore bae, your bore sib, your bore bud, your bore bestie, your bore burr, your neighbor, your bore bruh. I'm here to just talk to you, and you could listen to me or not. Or if you wake up, you could listen to me, or you could listen to me while you fall asleep. I'm here to keep you company. So it's almost like you're listening to the podcast, and the next thing you know, it's tomorrow, or you're waking up to use the loo or whatever it is, and you say, okay, well, let me put that podcast back on. But there are people that listen all night long. There's people that set sleep timers. And the show is structured in a very specific way just because it's getting put out to the world for free. So there's only one way to put it out, but then you can kind of adjust from there. But it is very intentionally structured. It starts off with a greeting. Friends beyond the binary, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. So you feel seen and welcomed in. And you say, I might check that out. Then there's support so the podcast can be free. And that's, say, okay, that's easier for me to try. Free sample. I say, well, it's kind of like free sample, but it's supported. But yeah, it comes out twice a week for free. So I say, oh, wow, great. Then there's separate from the support, which we're in now, is an intro, which is a show within the show. And for some reason, when people really have a strong objection to the support, it probably ends up the podcast isn't going to be for them anyway, but they lump the intro in with it and they say there's 30 minutes of commercials or something and they miss out on the intro, which I kind of feel bad about, but it does take 2 or 3 tries. Even then they might say, I loathe this show. But the intro is a lot like long-term listeners, not every long-term listener, but a lot of them's favorite part. Because it's just us chatting here, me and you, and I'm chatting. You say, well, you're kind of you're chit-chatting, I guess. You're chattering, but not in a cold way. And I say, you got it right. Can't wait to cuddle up with my Venn diagram later. Oh, boy. But What was my, I got mixed up picturing myself in bed with a Venn diagram, holding it, cuddles with Venn diagrams. There could be another one. You see, no wonder you don't get any responses, like on those. Is that really what you put on your profile? No, on my imaginary profile, yeah. So, cuddles with Venn diagrams. Most likely to cuddle with a Venn diagram. I would take that award. I would, for sure. It'd say, like, but then it'd probably be, there'd have to be like depending on the event, if it's made of some sort of metallic material, ceramic, anything breakable. Is it a cuddly Venn diagram? And you say, well, that's another one. Cuddles with cuddly Venn diagrams is within that. Okay. Interesting. So what was I saying? Oh, the intro goes on and on and on to ease you into bedtime. So you could skip it. Some people start the show at 20 minutes. Some people are falling asleep. Some people are already asleep. But for most listeners, it's part of their wind down routine. And it does take, for me, a little while to wind down, or more than a little while, to ease into bedtime. So the intro is part of that. You could be getting ready for bed. You could be doing some sort of other relaxing activity. Or you could just be in bed getting comfortable, but not, no pressure to fall asleep yet. The intro is like a buffer between, that's how the show, I don't know when the intro popped over 10 minutes, but it was probably in the first 100 or 150 episodes. And that's when the show, before, like early on, the podcast wasn't an hour plus, because I didn't realize, this is supposed to put you at ease, right? You don't need any pressure to fall asleep. You already have enough. So the intro is a part of that, like a landing strip. That's why it goes on and on and on, and it's a show within a show. It's not part of the support or anything. It's here for you. And for everybody else listening, it's kind of like a little, I don't know, it's where I get to show my skills and put you at ease, be myself. So that's the intro. Then there's support between the intro and the show, so it can be free. Then there's our bedtime story, which I'm not sure what this one's going to be yet, believe it or not. I got a couple of shows I got to record. And then there'll be thank yous at the end. So it's a structured show. That's why I make the show. I'm so glad you're here. I really work hard on this podcast. I really yearn and I strive. I really hope I can help you fall asleep. So thanks again for coming by. And here's how we're able to do it for free twice a week. Sleep With Me is brought to you by Progressive. Most of you aren't just listening right now. You're driving, cleaning, and even exercising. But what if you could be saving money by switching to Progressive? Drivers who save by switching save nearly $700 on average. And auto customers qualify for an average of 7 discounts. Multitask right now. Quote today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. National average 12-month savings of $698 by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive between June 2021 and May 2022. Potential savings will vary. Discounts not available in all states and situations. All right, everybody, Scoots here. This is another textbook episode. Textbook Sleep With Me. I'll be rambling on and on and on. And I have in my hands, which is interesting, because I was thinking, where did I get this from? And I will say it was probably the garbage. That's where I normally, so this is a textbook from my youth, my far youth. I haven't done any research about it, but I know I had this textbook and I spent a lot of time with it. Because this is one that is, oh boy, seared in my memory. The cover, I don't know about the contents. And so it's a textbook from elementary school or grammar school or primary school, depending on where in the world you are. And I'm not sure what year. So let's go over the back cover. The back cover is very robust printing because it is still, I don't know if it was originally a two-tone book, but the back cover is like a bright reddish orange, like a crayon that you would use to color part of the sun. And this book has to be quite old. And I found it probably in the garbage or in a recycle. Most likely, though, when I say garbage, I also mean boxes outside of people's houses on the street before garbage day. Like when I go running or walking the dog, there's like usually a day before garbage day, people will put a box out with their semi-junk. That's where I'm pretty sure I found this because it's in really great shape. Though I could have found it. You don't know where else I would have found it. I can almost picture a couple times there's like boxes full of books. So anyway, it says level 5. So I don't know if that means the 5th grade. And it says reading 720. So I don't know if that's a reading level. And it's Ginn and Company, a Xerox education company. So I don't know what any of that means. And it's probably like out of date. What's interesting, though, is if it is 5th grade, there's a great irony in there, which was 5th grade was definitely, I'm trying to say this in the softest, sleepiest way possible. When in my childhood, that was the stretch where this podcast was forged, because that's when things kind of felt like they went off the rails for me, was 5th grade. I mean, it already had like some school challenges, but like 5th grade was where 5th and 6th grade, maybe 4th, but I'm pretty sure 1st, 2nd. So let's see, kindergarten, or not 1st, okay. 2nd, a lot of trouble in 2nd grade. 3rd, 4th, and 5th, I don't know. I'd have to get on a couch. I'm not sure about those ones. One of those years, like they're like I can think of went pretty good. No ideas, I guess. Maybe two of those years. But so anyway, so it's just ironic if this is from 5th grade. I don't know if it is. No, it's definitely. I don't think it's from 5th grade. Opening it up, but that doesn't mean it's not. I have no idea what a 5th. I mean, I feel like when my daughter was in 5th grade. I'm not kidding. That's like how my brain works. But I feel like my daughter was reading books in 5th grade. But 5th, 6th, I don't know. So anyway, the title of the book is May I Come In? Now, the front cover is like an orange. It's a faded orange. I would say a sherbet. I definitely feel like it's a sherbet orange at this point. And May I Come In is written in like with outline and a red background and then a yellow box around it. And then this is what I remember about it. Like, and I mean, I guess bravo to whoever designed the cover, because it's like, I wouldn't, if you like said, Scoots, we have $12 million. Can you do the cover of one of your books, your textbooks from childhood? I wouldn't be able to do that. I'd say, well, looks like I'm missing out on that. But seeing it triggered the memory, and I said, holy cow, I remember this, right? So in some sense, I have great gratitude. And then I say, wow. And I get the reason I took it was because I said, I could make this into a podcast episode. And I still have that high school one somewhere, though I have no idea where it is. Okay, so this one, it says, May I Come In at the top. Then there's different doors or windows that are open. And it's kind of like a diorama. On the first one is a, not a puppet, but like a butterfly, a yellow butterfly. The doors are open. It's a window. And it's like a kind of like a plush butterfly looking through it. Then in the middle one is an arched doorway or window with kind of a three-dimensional, like paper craft city with stars in the sky, like the background of a city and then stars in the sky. Then next to that is a door with a plush rabbit looking out of it, and its ears poking out of the door. So also good design of like making it three-dimensional, but nothing so interesting. Obviously, I spent a lot of time staring at it. And if you're under the age of 30, I've got some other, maybe even under the age of like, I don't know, probably under the age of 30, buckle your seatbelt because I got a couple more textbook things to tell you about. But yeah, the rabbit's there. Then below the rabbit is a papercraft rainbow coming out of a door into a cloud on the cover of the book. Then in the center is a door with two shells glued to the background, maybe. But our friend from the door next door is looking through that door at the shells in the rainbow. And it's clearly a puppet, like a puppet, a long, thin puppet, a worm, I guess, but a multicolored worm, green and purple and red striped worm, even an orange stripe, in kind of a barn door. But so when I was a kid, and a lot of people, but if not everybody, not my daughter, like, so I'm pretty sure when you went to school, and this has it in here, the books were not your property. It used to be, there was like and I don't know, like, I don't want to blame austerity for everything, but like you would get a book and you'd be loaned the book. It was property of your school district, right? So you didn't have to pay for your books, like, and the teacher didn't have to pay for them, but you did if you messed your book up. So you'd take a paper shopping bag and go through some manner of folding, and my mom probably had to do it, though I think at some point I learned how to do it. And maybe I'll do it on for promotion of the show, if somebody could remind me of that. But you would put a cover on the book, and then you could draw on the cover, which was nice. Though this one was not drawn on because I don't see. Usually leave an indentation. I mean, this book was never used because you would open up the front cover and there's a stamp on the inside of these books that I think was so it says this book is the property of. Then it says the state, the province, the county, the parish, the school district, or other, and you would write that in. And then it says book number, and usually the teachers would do that, and they'd say number 1 of 20, number 2 of 20. So then they could write that down. And then you say issued to, and you'd put your name there, year issued. And then the teacher would fill out issued, like the condition, issued and returned, like new or used or good or great. And there was even instructions. Pupils to whom this textbook is issued must not write on any page or mark any part of it in any way. Consumable textbooks accepted. So that would be one that you're supposed to write in or that you'd rip the pages out of. But this was a textbook. Those, I think, were called workbooks. 2, the following terms. Oh, this is helpful. The following terms should be used in recording the condition of the book. New, good, fair, poor, or bad. And I'm not sure how many books my parents had to buy, but I'm sure it was a lot. Okay, so... Okay, and May I Come In? It has all the people associated with it. I don't know, editors, consultants. Then it has acknowledgments of, the book, because it's a lot of short stories they're reusing. Okay, so the copyright for this book is 1976, which I was not, so wow, that's wild. I don't know if they had more. That's interesting, because I was not reading it in 1970. It wasn't anywhere where I could read anything in 1976. So, wow. So this book was already pretty old when I got my hands on it as a kid, but maybe it doesn't say any edition number. So I don't know how many years this was in use. This could also explain why I'm so behind on everything. Okay, this is interesting. Then there's the contents. The first unit is a little bit of leaf, a bit of weed. That's unit 1. Unit 2 is city places. Oh, this is interesting because this may play into why as a child between Sesame Street and reading, I was obsessed with living in an urban environment like New York City particularly. Unit 3 was Imagine. Unit 4, Fly Away. Unit 5, Old Tales to Tell. And then a book-length story, A Home for Bunny, Margaret Wise Brown. And then we open it we're on page 6 and 7 if you're playing along at home. And there's a 2-page spread similar to the cover. On the left side are 2 windows. It's all that orangish, reddish orange background, but it says On the left side of the two-page spread is open doors and a papercraft cityscape during like a sunset, just one color red sky, skyscrapers, and 3 levels of papercraft, bushes, and trees. Then in the center is an arched door with dried flowers and plants coming out of it. And then on the right side are what I would say are not papercraft, but knitcraft. I don't know what the right word for it is. Fabric craft, leaves from trees, a yellow one, and then a couple different shades of green and bluish green. And it says a little bit of leaf dash, a bit of leaf, a bit of weed. Okay, so it's kind of basic writing, but so I don't know what age again, but it's not, I don't know, 2nd or 3rd grade maybe? I don't know. The first story is called The Fox. And the art is realistic. So there's a realistic, beautiful red fox with a long tail on the left side of the page. And the sentences are simple. I'll read one sentence, but I don't want to, I'm just commenting on it. The fox, on the next page I'll read it. There's a rabbit, like a jackrabbit, like it's in mid-hop, and the fox is in the background. And it says, a little rabbit is looking for a bit of something to eat. He is looking for a bit of leaf, a bit of weed. So there's the chapter of or the title of the unit. And, okay, the story goes more. That's page 8 and 9. Then we have a 2-page spread with a log, a fox, a mousy poo, beautiful flowers. This looks like watercolors. But I don't know. I mean, you'd have to be really talented to do. The fox has fur and everything. So I don't know if it's watercolors and something else or just a really talented artist. And I kind of remember the story. Then there's a fox visiting a farm, and there's it's at a hen house, but the hens are safely behind, whatever you call it, chicken wire. And the fox is just looking at them, kind of panting. So really, no wonder I couldn't pay attention. I mean, the art, so this is like literally a 2-page spread with the hens, the fox, some wildflowers and grass. And there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 words, one sentence. But I guess you could say, if you didn't know it, what is the fox looking at? It's looking at the hens, so it's helpful. Then there's a puppy chasing the fox away, and there's a farmhouse, another 2-page spread. Oh, and it's like written in poetic way, and away the fox runs, away, 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 written in that style, like where it's like, I don't know, they would have explained that in the class, but I wasn't paying attention enough. But yeah, the fox is running and the dog is running. There's a farmhouse, blue sky, trees, grass. So this one is kind of glamorizing to me country life or living in like a plane in the plains. Okay, now we jump to the next story, The Mouse and the Snowman. And it's entirely different. Entirely different style of art. It's actually, wow, cool. And still realistic style art, maybe with watercolors. Clearly, not clearly, but probably a different artist, but also realism. This one is a winter snowscape. We're in the branches of a tree, and a mouse is sleeping in a bed of leaves. It's very cute, but realistic. And in the background, in the distance, there's hills. And there's also kind of a house or a couple houses, maybe a village, maybe a farmhouse. Then in the next page, there's the mouse is kind of sniffing around in the branches in the snow. Then in the next one is 2 kids going out to play from a house. They're holding hands. They're puffed up in, they got scarves and hats and boots on and mittens. And the mouse is kind of hanging on to a branch looking at them. And again, there's no leaves, knots in the branches, different colors. And then in the next page is a 2-page, like a 2-panel thing with a panel in the background and then something set against the panel. And this is the one sentence. The little mouse is looking. And again, you could see that the mouse is watching the two kids build a snow person. And the snow person, like they're building it in the back panel. And then in the foreground, the snow person is completed. It has a fishing hat on it, stick arms, so Olaf-esque. No carrot nose, but coal-based, and the kids are eating like what seems to be cookies or potatoes, raw potatoes, but I doubt it's raw potatoes. And the kids leave, and the mouse comes on the next 2 pages and it finds like crumbs. And it's eating the crumbs. There's a really cool shot on page 22. Even though it looks like a photograph taken from the ground, it's like, but it's art. And it's like the mouse up on its hind feet eating one of the crumbs, bits and bits of gingerbread, it says. The snow person is towering above the mouse. And then they show the mouse giving itself a bath. A raccoon is watching the mouse take a bath. Oh, wow, and this is really good because the raccoon is not a part of this story. But then we go to the next page. I definitely remember this. And this one has photos. It's called The Raccoons. And some nature shots. The first one is 2 baby raccoons snuggling inside of a den or a den inside a log or something. So nature, like actual real nature photography. It's pretty cool because it's like kind of faded because the book's older. And it kind of talks about the raccoons, their home. They have a mother. At first they can't see, so they can't play. Then the next page, page 25, there's another like young raccoon holding onto a tree. And probably the cutest thing I've ever seen in a long time, other than my dog Koa, in case she's listening. But pretty darn cute, the raccoon's eyes. And then there's a third page of the two baby raccoons playing on the end of a stick, kind of chasing each other. Then another style of art, really cool. This one is a little bit more 70s style, stylistically, I would say. And even the writing, it's called Tracks in the Snow. No authors on this. This one is a poem. I think there is in the, after the unit, I'll go back and look. But there's Tracks in the Snow. And then up a hill, and then there's a tree. I don't know if it's, this one looks like it could be like marker work or pen. It's definitely pen outlines in either watercolor or some sort of marker type work. And hiding behind a brown tree, holding on to the trunk of the tree, is a squirrel. Not in a realism style, but in a pretty close to, I don't know that like terminology for art within textbooks. But a really cool feature on the bottom left down the hill is like trees in the background. But that one is, they're like the trees are outlined, but then they have kind of a stained glass look to them. And this is a poem. It's like, what animal ran on a hill in the snow? Follow the tracks and you will know. And this is a 2-page spread. Again, some vibrant colors. And the top page is the squirrel in a tree. Kind of, oh boy, man, the colors on this, purples and greens, kind of pastel-y. And then there's a hill down, and then there's a rabbit or a hare, I don't know, running down the hill. And then behind the rabbit or the hare is a bush, and then some more stained glass style trees. And then we come to another 2-page spread with a bunch of animals and a bunch of animal tracks. So again, this would give the teacher a chance to really do some flair, because you say, whose tracks are these? Oh, those are rabbit tracks. Whose tracks are those? Fox tracks? So there's a rabbit with huge ears, a fox with huge ears, a bird, a brown squirrel, a gray squirrel, a hill, 2 trees, bushes, and then another mound of dirt and rock. And, yeah, cool. I mean, very cool. And then there's the next chapter is different titled, not sleepy, but Animals Can Hide, it's called. So this is photographs. So there's a night shot of a squirrel climbing up a tree or on a tree. Man, I can't believe, I guess it's like claws are like holding it on there, but I don't know how. It's on a big trunk. And then there's a raccoon on the next page against a winterscape. And this raccoon's not on a tree or a main branch, like on small branches, holding on to like 2 different small branches, distributing its weight. Then there's, this is cute too, a red fox poking its head out of a den. Looks pretty young, but it could just be a small fox. There's a turtle being sniffed by a dog. And it's saying, I'm staying in my shell, but that's kind of cute. Okay, I definitely remember this photograph. So this is a full 2-page spread of like painted desert. It says the desert. The sun comes up. It is time to take the sheets from the night pen. And it's clearly like your typical painted desert like you see in Utah or Bugs Bunny or Wile E. Coyote, Roadrunner cartoons or Westerns. But in the foreground is a pen with goats and sheep in it looks like, and some brush, some trees. Oh, and then we have like some sand dunes, like right out of the movie, Hollywood sand dunes. But not the what you would associate just with like the pure desert. There's some grass, there's dunes, and in the background are beautiful rock formations. And then there's a young woman or a girl in a green dress, black coat, hair tied back. She's looking at the sheep or watching the sheep. Her hands are in her pockets. We only see her back. And rising, so sheep are in the foreground, some brush, some scrub brush and stuff, and then those towers, those painted desert rock towers, you think of all the way in the far distance. Then we have another, this one, okay, interesting. This one's cool. So this one, it says, follow the tracks. How many pages is this? Oh, it's only 2 pages. So it's just a 2-page spread. And on the left side, it says, follow the tracks. This is rabbit tracks, raccoon tracks, fox tracks, Kim's tracks. And there's 4 sets of tracks. So you have the rabbit tracks, the raccoon tracks, the fox tracks, and Kim's tracks. Kim's a human with boots. And you can follow them all over the page. Then there's questions. Did the raccoon go near the fox's home? Let's see if we can answer it. Okay, that's the fox tracks. It must be, its home is on the right side, I'm guessing. And the fox goes all the way across the page. Okay, no, I don't think it did. Did the rabbit go up a hill? Oh, the rabbit's actually in the picture. Let me see, rabbit tracks. Are those Kim's tracks or rabbit tracks? No, those are rabbit. I'd say yes, the rabbit did go up what looks like a hill to me. Did the rabbit go near the fox's home? No. Did Kim follow the raccoon? Yes, it looks like their tracks are in parallel. She could have been, the raccoon could be Kim's companion, though. Did the fox follow the raccoon? No, it did not. The fox just goes from right to left across the page. And the rabbit more or less goes from left to right. Did Kim go near? Now we're getting to trick questions. No, Kim did not go near the fox's home. Did the fox go near Kim's home? No. We don't know where Kim lives, technically. This would have been where I was in school. I'd say, well, how do we know that's the fox's home? Well, where's Kim's home? But I mean, if the fox had a view of Kim's home, if what the houses in the picture are Kim's home that we're assuming. And that's the end of that chapter. So let's just go to the credits here. Oh, it doesn't have any credits for anything in there. So, and interestingly, there's a bullet point before follow the tracks, maybe because it's an activity. And then there's no questions or anything. Okay, but this is a chapter I've been waiting for because I'm sure this affected my life greatly in a positive way. City Places, and it's again a 2-page spread. On the left side there's like papercraft clouds on both sides of the page. And then there's open doors, and then there's almost looks like a woodcut or a drawing of an old building and a fire hydrant in front of it. Again, fire hydrants were glorified when I was a kid. So then on the right side is a picture, like an aerial picture of, looks like a borough of New York with like 3 to 5 story buildings, and 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks. So yeah, and that's City Places. This is page 44 and 45. Oh boy, I definitely remember this story for some reason. It's called New Boots, and it's a 2-page spread. It's done in pen, in nice bold pen or, art pen, and then just a little touches of color, maybe pencil. I think pencil color. Not full color, just enough to give everybody, like, so their clothes have color and stuff like that too, and their hair and everything. And there's even people in the background. So it's a shoe store, and James is there talking to the shoe store salesman. Now, back then, you had to, I think there was even that Married with the Children, you had to wear a suit to sell shoes. So this was pre-mall era. Or there was malls, but they weren't as popular. I mean, maybe this was in a mall. It doesn't say. But James is talking to the salesman. James looks like the same age as the kids that would be reading this book. And then there's other people, and we learn later it's James's mother and sister. They're sitting back kind of watching. But James is looking up at the man, the shoe salesman, and asking, hey, you have boots? And he says, yeah, let's check some out. And then James and his mother are looking at boots. And James finds some boots, so in the first picture on the next page is James is holding a boot and the salesperson's holding a boot. And they're clearly in the process of trying them on. Then the mom and the sister's in the mom's lap, and they're looking on. And James is saying, hey, can we get these boots? And the mom says, yes. Then on the next page is his sister Penny. So in the next page, James has his feet up. He's looking at the boots on his feet. He's pretty happy. The mom is sitting there next to James. Her sister is standing holding a boot, and the salesperson's kind of looking on, holding their suit, part of their suit. They have a suit vest on even. And James's sister's name's Penny. And she wants these nice red rain boots, it looks like. But the mom says, you don't need boots right now. I mean, these kids are growing, Oh, yeah, I definitely remember this story so much. Holy cow, because it changes, the story changes even. But then, but Penny doesn't seem that disappointed. Then we go to a new page, and the salesperson is handing James a balloon with a smiley face on it, a red balloon. Wow, it's amazing how some of this stuff affects you. It never leaves you, but I don't know. I can definitely remember the story so much. So the salesman is handing James a red balloon, and James is looking at him, taking the balloon. So that's another thing. I mean, kids say that you don't get a free, like, this is the kind of stuff that stores would do. They'd give you a balloon when you bought stuff or something. I'm pretty sure that, or that's what I based my life's expectations on. So let's say, my mom would say, well, let's go get shoes. I said, does this store give you a free balloon when you get shoes? No, that only happens in your educational textbooks. Are you sure there's no stores? Well, yeah, there's a store, but because we would go to, I can't remember the place. I've talked about it in other podcasts. So on Geddes Ave, doesn't exist anymore. And it was like before, I know there was Marshall's back then or TJ Maxx, but it was kind of place where it was a very dusty place. There was the salespeople. I think they all worked there. It was like a discount shoe store where they would buy, whatever they, we had 6 kids in our family. And I'm sure all their shoes were good. That's when I got those pleather, that was one of the first times before I, found other substances to make me feel good. I picked out a pair. I was old enough, and this was a little bit older than James, but I picked out a pair of suede shoes with a Velcro, like they were dress shoes, because we had to wear dress shoes to school. And they were they had a sneaker bottom, but they were suede shoes, brown suede shoes, more than one tone of brown, too, with a gigantic Velcro enclosure, so you didn't have to tie them. And I remember I thought these shoes were going to change my life. I was like, this is it. All my problems are over. Girls will start liking me. I won't get in trouble at school anymore. These shoes are going to change everything. And like the universal story of being human goes, the first day of school, like I've talked about this on before, I always had friends at school, but as far as like the grammar school, like the order of whatever you want to call it, I was like a third from the second from the or third from the bottom. Or competing and the kid that was on the bottom, he was the first person that saw my shoes, and he let me know that I probably should be on the bottom. And I don't know if I wore the shoes again or not, but can't remember. But that's the story of my brown suede shoes. Please step on my brown suede shoes. So back to the textbook, James is getting a balloon, but he's so loving this, James. He gives since Penny didn't, he goes, I got boots. Why don't you take the balloon, Penny? And Penny says, now I have something new too. Thank you, James. Thank you. And she's staring at the balloon. Then we go into another story, the red balloon, where Penny is clearly skipping with the balloon. James is kick dancing with the balloon. The mom's smiling. And then we go, okay, this is a more cautionary tale. Oh, I remember this for sure, because the dog's name is Jet. So maybe they are at the mall. So the mom says, don't play with the balloon in this next store or whatever, or wherever they are. And Penny, is like a bit like Scoots. She stops to talk to a dog and says, do you like my red balloon? And then the dog runs away with her balloon. This may have been the first piece of fan fiction I wrote about this dog, Jet. And the next page, Jet is running away with the balloon. Penny's running after it, frowning. And the dog's owner is in the background saying, no, Jet, oh, no. Oh, yeah, this is amazing textbook design. And then the next page is like a department store, like a dress section. I guess these are bathrobes, glamorous bathrobe section. So there's about 5 mannequins in like glamorous robes. And the Jet's owner's looking for Jet. Jet's hiding behind one mannequin under the robe with the balloon sticking out. But the mannequin's head is blocking it. And the mom says to Penny, don't worry. The woman's looking for it. And Penny goes, I'm never, this was me. Like she says, I lost my balloon forever and never get it back. Then it goes into another story called Where's Jet? And everybody's looking for Jet. Oh, it is like either a department store, because we can see people coming down an escalator. And there's Penny is talking to maybe a salesperson in a sweater vest. And James and Mom are looking around. And the person says, "You looking for something?" "Yeah, a dog with a red balloon." And the man says, "A dog? A dog with a red balloon?" But then James has found Jet, or says, "I see Jet." So he's pulling them off. Again, we get another shot of maybe a department store. There's an escalator in the background. And then the woman is with Jet on the next page. The balloon is popped. Penny's hugging her mom, who's down, squatting down to hug her daughter. James is looking concerned, and the man in the green sweater vest is looking concerned. And the mom says, "Don't worry, we'll get a new balloon, Penny." Oh my gosh. This is like, this is my life here. I can't believe this. This story is like, this is like such a big part of my life. Just because I'm 2 pages ahead of you anyway. So then the next page, everybody's happy. The man in the greenish sweater vest has his hands on his hip, but he's smiling, looking at Penny. Penny is stretching her arms above her head in joy. And then Jet and Jet's caretaker, the woman, she has a purple hat. The woman in the purple hat, I'll say. Everybody's smiling, and the man's saying, "We have animal balloons," which I've still never seen a balloon of this quality before. I mean, maybe at a theme park. But so on the next page, Penny is holding a balloon, a parrot balloon. It's a purple parrot balloon. Wow, alliteration too. A big purple parrot balloon. Penny is holding, her nose is to the beak of the balloon. The balloon is shaped like a parrot. It has purple, but it also has some feather action. It has like blush on its cheek and eye. And then its beak is orange. And then the woman says, "Hey, you want that purple balloon? You can have it." And Penny says, "Great, you got a dog, I got a parrot balloon." And that's the end of the story. Oh, and Jet's jumping for joy, but not maybe at the balloon, but Penny's too high up for Jet to reach it or something. Then another story I remember, which is it takes place in the city. It's called Pigeons and Popcorn, with Tony, who's looking at the buildings, pigeons, and Tony's waiting for her sister. A woman says, "Hey, are you lost?" She goes, "No, I'm waiting for my sister." And then we see a doorman, which is very unique to New York City mostly. Or at least I associate it. We see building is number 72. Tony's waving at somebody. Then we get some great city shots. We have a garbage truck, and Tony's friend Mike Park eating popcorn, but he waves at Tony and drops his popcorn. We even have people going down, like walking by. Different style art, somewhat realistic, but a little bit cartoonish. Then we see pigeons going after Mike's popcorn. In the background is a clothing store and a grocery store, 2 kids on bikes. And then Mike's trying to chase the pigeon away from the popcorn. There's even a fire truck driving by in the background. Then Tony comes to help Mike get the pigeons away from the popcorn. Then the art changes to be less chaotic, and there's a woman there in the foreground, and Tony and Mike are in the background. They're in a very nice park. And they've taken a step back to watch the pigeons eating the popcorn. Then in the next picture is Tony's sister, and her sister has brought popcorn for Mike and Tony. And they say, "Now we have popcorn too." And then the next one takes place in the city. It's called Isabel. And the class is going out. There's an older person. I can't tell if they're a teacher. David Yee says, "You can't guess where we're going." So there's like someone, they look like a teenager, but I don't know if they're like, I don't know. I don't remember the story as well. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 children. Shit, no, I'm almost done though. And they say, we're going to the zoo. Oh, Penny's in this. I don't know if it's the same Penny. Pete, Penny. No, that's David. Are we going to the airport? No, we already went to the airport. What about that building? No. So the kids are looking up at a building. Then they're going to the fire department. And they're looking at a fire truck. The kids are climbing on it. And now there's more kids and more adults. So let's see, there's 2 adults and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 kids climbing on the fire truck. Then the kids are talking to a fire person or firefighter. 1, 2, 3, 4 kids. They're like a hand in their hat. And then the hat is missing on the next page. So they're all looking for this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 kids looking for the hat. And then they say, there's my hat. Isabel is pretending to drive the fire truck wearing the hat. So let's see how many kids are in this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 11. So I hope the other 4 kids are somewhere responsible. And then they all leave. That was Engine House 39. Then there's a poem by Myra Cone Livingston about buildings with like a nice pointillism style. And then there's old buildings and new. And there's one building getting knocked down and another one built. Again, this goes to like my education as a child. Like, I'm not kidding. When I was this age, like my dream was to work on girders on skyscrapers because I love, I don't know. I just always wanted, it was so glamorous with great views and some excitement. That's what I always wanted to do as a kid, and live in New York City and work on girders on skyscrapers. Part of that happened. But yeah, they show people, there's like cranes and dump trucks. This kind of plays and nice. This is just a 2-page spread. Oh no, then we got 2 more pages of construction, people working on girders. There's a guy riding on a girder. There's a concrete truck. What are those called? Cement mixer. There's bricks. There's girders. Then there's people working on the interior of a building. Then there's another poem. Is this a city? Elephants and lions, trees and parks, people working, boys playing, big buildings, big airport, big trucks, animal tracks, new homes, men helping machines work. But there's, and then on the next page, there's, what machine is like this? Okay, so this is the quiz part. So there's a dump truck, a crane holding a log and a drill. And then there's an elephant holding a log. You say, okay, the elephant is like the crane. Then there's a donkey holding some hay. And then there's a woodpecker drilling a hole. And then that's the end of that chapter. So we got halfway through this book. I don't know, maybe I'll do the rest as another episode, or I don't know. But good night, everybody. I hope you enjoyed. May you come into dreamland. Good night. All right, I want to thank Emma, Jasmine, and Thomas. Thank you, thanks, and good night for becoming patrons. Katie, Leah, and Lise. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Dana, Matt, and Carly. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Jessica, Aubrey, and Eric. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Ashley, Kelly, and Kayla. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Grace, Henry, and Carrie. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Jen, Jocelyn, and Amanda. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Risa, Richard, and Ellen. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Austin, Amari, and Beth. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Kathy and Lauren. Thank you, thanks, and good night. And William and Kelly. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Thanks to everybody who became a patron recently or supports the sponsors. That's how, or supports the show on Apple Podcasts. That's how we're able to be here for free twice a week. And we also grow as a podcast by people spreading the word. And if you spread the word about the show, you can get credit at sleepwithmepodcast.com/refer. Thanks so much. Here comes the Tuck You In sponsor, which has helped us grow the archives over 500. Actually, when I looked today, it's 554 free shows to listen to. Thanks. Hey, everybody, this is Scooter here. Before I tuck you, or as I tuck you in, you get Sleep With Me, branded sleep phones at sleepwithmepodcast.com/sleep phones. Use this promo code Sleep With Me. Also, when you're hearing this between now and the end of April, we're running a 16% off on annual subscriptions on our Patreon. And you don't want to miss out. I'm not even, not only do you not get these sponsor spots where I'm asking for support, but that's how it puts one of the ways we keep the show free. But it's like you get 4 or 5 nights of content every single week of different stuff. So you get 2 ad-free episodes that are new. They usually come out about a week before they come out to regular listeners. Then you get, what else do you get? Then 2 story-only episodes, which don't have the intros. Those are episodes that are about a month or 2 old. And some people really like those because they just build story-only playlists. If you listen all night, particularly, that's a good way to do it, I've heard, is you set up a new ad-free episode and then a playlist of 10, 20 story-only episodes. And then 10 to 20 hour patrons also get all intro episodes, all night episodes, bonus episodes. And then this summer, we're doing subscriber summer. And we'll be putting out a lot more content just out for patrons, bonus shows and stuff like that. So that'll be really cool. $5, $10, and $20 patrons will get those. So yeah, check that out. I appreciate it. And thanks and good night, everybody.